Alright, so we do a little breakdown of the gear. Someone asked me, what gear are you using? Little background. I didn't start making beats till the height of the pandemic. I was always making raps and songs, but had trouble getting beats or instrumentals, so I decided when I got some of that COVID money, hey, let's let's buy some synthesizers, see what it do. The first one I got was the SP-404, which today actually came in the mail, the MK2. I had the SP-404 SX, and maybe I'll do an unboxing of the MK2 today. The SX was cool. I didn't get to use it as long as I would like. I wish I wouldn't have sold it. I grabbed the SX, and then I grabbed Behringer the 606, and then I grabbed Innovation Circuit Tracks at some point. Then they were gonna release the Rhythm. I was waiting on the Rhythm. Then I picked up the Electron Model Cycles and the Electron Model Samples. I had the combo, and I had the black box, the 1010 Music black box for a little bit. So you could tell the gas started, and I just started going crazy. I had the black box. I'm trying to think of what else. Pocket operators. I think I have most of the pocket operators besides the Mega Man. I have all the original, yeah, pretty much all the pocket operators besides the Mega Man and the Speak. Some little devices I got. But what had happened is I ended up selling a lot of stuff. I sold the black box mainly because I liked the black box. It seemed like it was going to be an all-purpose production groove box, but it ended up not having effects on it. And I know you could solve that with like an NTS-1 or maybe some pedals, but I really wanted it to be like a groove box all in one because it was so small. It was built like a tank. I really liked it. I didn't like the song mode. I know they updated it, so maybe it's better. And I didn't like the yeah, mainly just because it was really dry. It was really dry without effects. The sequencer was kind of cool. It was kind of like a Ableton Live clip launch kind of workflow. But the song mode was kind of weird how you record in, which we could talk about song modes later. So at first I, kind of didn't know what I was doing. For beginners, the model cycles right away was easy to use, I think. I was using the circuit tracks, but I didn't really know what I was doing with it. I was saving scenes. I was saving projects, how you should save scenes on it. And I didn't really understand the workflow. It was easy to edit and take out, notes that you've entered and stuff like that. But I didn't understand the full scene mode and projects. The 606 was cool by Behringer. It felt really kind of plasticky cheap, but it, so does some of these live-ins, but I really like the sound out of them. I like the sound out of the 606 by Behringer. Yeah, like if you just wanted a basic 606, it would do the trick, and it sounded pretty good to me. The model samples I didn't get along with. If you got a model samples, there is an app you can use that's not official, that someone made, where you can use your iPhone to slap samples on there, so that was pretty cool. But I didn't like the way you trim the samples with the decay and how it worked with samples. For me personally, some people use it to great effect. The cycles was a lot better because you're just shaping the sounds. I didn't feel like, maybe I didn't understand sampling fully. The SP-404, the original, or not the original, the SX, definitely was dope. It had, the effects were awesome, and there was also some, what would you call it? The workflow was a little weird, but once you get used to it, it definitely had a character sound to it. I know they took off I don't know if it was the vinyl compressor. There was one effect they left off of the SX, the MK2, that I really liked on the original. I can't think of it offhand. But, now that I got the MK2, which I'm about to unbox, the velocities, the upgrades are nice. I hesitated on the MK2 for a long time because of the workflow. It didn't look intuitive, but a couple things I've learned since messing around with gear the last couple years is you can do all the research you want, but sometimes, having the gear in your hands is going to speak to you different. And, so I sold the black box, I sold the circuit tracks, both the model samples, the 606. Oh, there's some things I regretted selling. I had the Tascam Porta Studio. I think the 8-track version with the auto mastering, which was really nice. I don't know why I sold that, but I sold a bunch of gear to get the MPC-1 because I thought, I couldn't find everything in a box. I thought the MPC-1 was going to solve everything. I was looking for features, looking for the gear that's going to definitely be the gear that can do it all, and that's all I need to make my perfect music. And I used the MPC for a while. When I had the MPC, I had a True keystep keyboard, which I really liked, and I had a Dreadbox Typhon, which was sick. I really love the effects on the Typhon. I think I had the special edition, limited edition one, and I wish I would have got rid of it. It was lit, and it's really good with the effects that Sine Vibes did in there. I think it's Sine Vibes. The effects they put in there are really good, and they're good with effects in general. I think they put some in the new Roland drum log, which is kind of weird that device is missing right now, because I don't know if they discontinued it or what, but the drum log looks like they dropped the price and sold it at $400 for a while instead of the original $600, and now I don't see it anymore. But yeah, so I sold a bunch of gear and took a huge loss, to get the MPC when the price was higher. And in short, the MPC workflow isn't my favorite. The way you do the tracks, and I figured it out. I don't like how you can't immediately sample. Like on this machine right here, the Livens, you could just sample right in and then play with your sample. On the MPC, it takes some setup. Like you gotta put it into an audio track and convert the audio track into a drum track, and then convert that, into your samples, which was really counterintuitive if you just want to sample something in and kind of mess with your idea right away. I felt like there was a lot of steps to go through. Besides that, I could get around that, but the expansion started having issues with the RAM, meaning the instruments were getting more powerful, the new expansions they got. I know Air Flavor Pro was tight. I have nothing against that. But then it just seemed like they kept coming out with instruments and expansions, and these expansions weren't cheap. My biggest frustrations were trying to update it. I had the original MPC-1. It didn't have the Wi-Fi, so trying to use an Ethernet cord and update that machine. And then I had a lot of problems with software updates, with bugs. And I would go on the forums and I would see all these bugs. And every time they'd fix something, they'd break something else. And it was one of the worst experiences I had with updating and breaking, and scared to update your system and lose your songs. I lost my songs a bunch. On the original SP, now that I'm thinking of it, I'm gonna be all over the place, is it was really dope, and I made some great jams on it. Same with the black box. But one thing about the SP was, the SX, was I would try to add a little bit more flavor onto a jam that was already good, and if you messed it up, you messed it up. There was no undo. You know, you're permanently printing to the pattern. So like, that really made me mad. I should have left a couple beats as is, because I had some really good beats on there that I liked, and I ruined them trying to add a little bit of flavor to them, or I should just left them how they were. The new MK2 has an undo feature. I'm not sure how in-depth it is or how complicated it is to use yet, but I'm looking forward to at least having an option of maybe being able to recover. And like the black box, I said I made some dope beats on there, but I couldn't dirty them up. Now, you could have ran the black box into the SP, and I didn't know as much what I was doing then. You could have flavored it up that way. But that was another thing with the old SP, it was the RCA jacks. You know, I'm glad the new one has the MIDI over USB, the USB-C. You can hook that to the iPad. You know, that just seems like I can do a lot with that combo right there. And especially being able to run the iPad through the effects, or vice versa. So yeah, the velocity sensitive pads, just, I mean, the MK2 looks like an upgrade. My biggest worry, like I said, is, you know, the workflow. Like, how bad's the workflow? You know, how many shift key combinations? Some of them are like 3 shift and 2 other buttons. So we'll see how complicated that gets. But I regretted it, because I sold that gear and, you know, got a machine. You know, I took a loss to get another machine to, I'm sure someone can relate to this, and didn't fall in love with the MPC, man. And, you know, at the time, my gear collection was growing, and to put all my eggs into one basket and not really click with it was kind of detrimental. And I'm trying to think if there was any other gear that I traded in before then. But long story short, I fell on rough times. Was homeless for a little bit, and me and my family were, you know, living out the shelter. So I was gonna sell my gear when we needed, you know, when we fell on hard times. And I'm like, I can't keep this gear, you know. So I sold the MPC, the Dreadbox Typhon, the keyboard and everything, and I just bought an iPad. And I got a Generation 9 iPad, you know. And, you know, just a simple look at all the fingerprints. Now, one cool thing about this iPad is it still has the headphone jack. You know, I run out of memory with it, which is a pain, but I like having that headphone port. I don't know why they'd be taking the ports off of the newer devices, but it drives me crazy. I think you can run something out the bottom like this. You can run something out the bottom, and there's an attachment that goes, you know, lightning to 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Or you could run you know, I'm sure with the Type-C you could get the same type of connection. The problem is you can't power it and run audio at the same time, or headphones, or you get a splitter. So it just complicates things. I wish Apple, you know, would keep the headphone jack so I can at least run the mic in the bottom and have the headphones out the top and be straight. But I was really impressed with the iPad. You know, I was making some cool music, and it was cool. It was definitely an experience. I think it sounds good. I was watching the sound test room, and I was watching him use AUM, which is a fantastic app. You know, I use that in Cubasis 3, and I got tons of AUV3's apps. You know, I got thousands of dollars worth of apps. You know, and that's a pain too, because some things can get updated or left behind. But you know, I knew the risk. But I made music on the iPad for a while. But as some of you will know, eventually you miss, if you had Gear, eventually you're gonna miss Gear. I knew I didn't want to I wanted to be standalone. I didn't ever want to use the PC. Maybe Ableton would have been the way to go, and just the computer, but I just never, it didn't seem fun to me, or tactile. I like the sound that you get out of the hardware, and I like the tactile feel of it. I definitely missed Gear, you know. So after I sold everything and basically just was down to the iPad, I think the first thing I bought was this. Let me see what I got here. I got one of the Korg vocals, or the vocal sample, which is lit. We can pull it out. Maybe we can pull it out. I got the vocal sample, and you know, shout out to Analog Cases, who, if you need cases for any gear, I don't know, I never had a problem. I like the zippers. I like the way it protects the gear. Some of the cases I got rid of too. When I sold Gear like an idiot, I gave them the cases too. So somebody got nice gear with cases. I got the vocal sample, and I really love this machine. It's I think it's best for, you know, like, I was like, oh, it's a step up from the pocket operators. I still kept my pocket operators for some reason when I had the iPad. So I guess I did have the iPad and the pocket operators. But I got one of these, and I started having a lot of fun again. I think it's really excels at house. It has a sound to it, like a lo-fi, gritty sound to it. So it has character. I really like that in machines. And I bought two of these. I have a brand new one of these I haven't even opened, so it might be fun to connect two of these. But I do have another one of these, just because I liked it so much. I really like it. I mean, especially this isolator right here. It's fantastic. It's pretty easy to use, cheap. I mean, these were going at one point for $109, which was like the price of a pocket operator. And if you're comparing this to a pocket operator, this is more bang for your buck for sure to make a full track. I haven't tried the drum or any of the other ones. I just tried the sample first, and I fell in love with it. I don't know. It has a certain sound. So I will keep the one in the box. I'm thinking I'm going to keep it just in case these get discontinued. I like this one so much. I bought that and then started building up the collection again to what I have now. So I had the funny thing is I rebought the circuit tracks. I missed it so much. I was almost gonna get the where's my tracks? I was gonna get the yeah, the circuit tracks. I really like this one. I was gonna get the circuit or the cycles again, but I kind of had to pick like this or the Cycles. I could get both again. I might get the Cycles down the road. I hear a lot of good music on it, especially lately. And I could have got the Rhythm since I already had this machine before. I was like, well, why don't, if you're going to rebuy something like this, why don't you get the Rhythm? But I had a lot of samplers at the moment, and there was something nice about this being, you know, I have a thing for groove boxes. I love drum machines, and I've thought about certain drum machines, just solo drum machines, but something about a groove box, being able to, you know, if I take just this with me, being able to do it all. I feel like the circuit rhythm is a little limited, not having the synths. I'm sure it's dope, you know, pairing them together, or, and another major thing for this is it can be a brain of a setup. So this is really good if you know, want to include other gear. Another thing I try to get on all my gear is a sync. You know, I try to get a sync because then I can tie this into other gear. The Vocas, the pocket operators, they all run off that same sync, and other devices I have. So I try to look for stuff that I can, if I wanted to get to hook together, I could. So that's a big draw. I had yeah, I used to get, you know, dust covers for everything, but sometimes, you know, to save more money, to have more gear, I'd just be throwing microfiber cloths or something over the top of them. You know, protect your gear, even if you do it cheap way. Another device I bought, so I have, you know, obviously I showed you the live in, but I have let's see, I have the Lo-Fi 12. Y'all can see it's packed up in here, but I have the Lo-Fi 12 as well, and I have the Lo-Fi 6. And a good thing about this is I bought one cord from you know, Perfect Circuit. I got one power cord, and it powers the 12, the 6, the Mega Synthesis, and it powers the vocal I just showed you. So one cord powers multiple machines. 5 machines that it powers just off of one cord. So that's cool for me. I really like that feature. But yeah, I got all the live-ins, the samplers especially. You know, the Lo-Fi 12 is great, but it has a 4-second sample time. The 6 has an 8-second sample time if you change the sample rate, and the Mega Synthesis has 8-second, 4-second, or 2-second sample time. So the 8-second sample time is really cool if you want to like run a whole drum loop. The Lo-Fi 12, you know, being maxed out at 4, I wish it had 8, but you know, I like the Lo-Fi 12 for the certain sound it has. I like the 6 for the sound it has, and I really like the Mega Synthesis. Was a no-brainer because it just brings back a lot of nostalgia for me. I also got, what else am I working with lately? I got some smaller things. You know, I got a monotron that I use, you know, I really like. I recently picked up a Beastie. I'll take it out. This mixer from Blast Instruments. You know, I was avoiding a mixer forever, but I ended up getting one, and I really like this one in particular because it you can use this third channel. If nothing's running through it, you can use it as a feedback. I don't know if you see that. So there's feedback right there in the middle, and that's pretty dope. You have these mutes. These run in, if you plug it in mono, it'll bridge over to stereo. or you can just run it mono in the different channels, but you can switch it right here. 3 you can use for the feedback loop, and then you got the 5 channels, and you can run on batteries. So just some cheap batteries in there, and it's built like how the black box was. So this is sturdy. I really wish I could get the soft pop too. That looks very interesting to me. And they used to have a dude mixer, but this is their newer one. So I avoided a mixer, and I think you can get away without a mixer if you kind of do some workarounds. But it's nice if you want to connect more gear into one thing, and I really like this feedback. I like distortion, and this thing has a mean distortion, and it has some good saturation to this sound. And you could power it off USB-C, so you don't have to use the batteries. So I really like that. Blast makes some cool instruments. I almost got the little modular drum machine they got and the synthesizer. But ultimately I ended up going with this. I think if I was going to get something next from them, it'd be the soft pop too, because it looks very interesting. I got some, sorry, they're just in bags so they don't get all dusty. I got this little tape. I don't even know what you'd call this. It's a little synthesizer. Sorry, it's dusty. I'm glad it's in the case. This one doesn't sync, so my only problem with this is it doesn't sync with anything. It kind of just runs its own thing. This is where the mixer could come into play, but I just love the mix of it. I mean, the look of it. It's a little synthesizer, and these are your keys. These rotate, and it's a beat byte synthesizer, so it uses a math algorithm to anybody who knows beat bytes to get the sound. But it's crazy. I guess you could put a battery in here, they were saying, with the attachments. Right there's a plug, and you could run a little thin battery in there and make it battery powered, but otherwise you just run an old USB into there, and you can power it. It's got the headphones out. There's just no kind of like sync option. These are keys. There's a sequencer. It runs on these lights up here. I just think it makes wicked sounds, and I really like the look of it. It's really cool. So I use that sometimes, especially for some spacey, tripped out sounds. And I got the pocket operators, as I mentioned. Right now I just got the KO. I just picked up, the last one I picked up was the Tonic, and man, I love the Tonic. I don't know, this one's really cool. The fact that you can throw the sounds on there and load them on there, over an audio signal is just tripped out to me. And I got the old KO right now. I didn't want to get the new KO with all the horror stories, so I'm still rocking with the old KO. I'm pleased with it. I have 2 of them. I have the KO and I have the Street Fighter, just in case something happens to one of them. But they're in essence the same thing. But I beat up my original KO. That's the one I use, and then I kind of keep the Street Fighter tucked up just in case something happens to this one. But I love the pocket operators. I got the rest in storage right now, and I wish I could get to the whole set, because I did a jam a long time ago on the channel where I hooked up most of them, and it was kind of fun. It's difficult to get them all in sync and do your thing with them, but not difficult, but takes some fiddling. But once you do, it's fun. Plus, they're all good for individual things, I just pull them out sometimes if I need something quick. Oh, yeah. What else I got? I forget I even have this. Sometimes I need to use it more. I got 30 wave M8. Comes in a nice little case. You know. Let me see here. Get this nice bag. Actually, you get the MIDI adapter, power cord, and a little USB thing to be able to stick your SD card into your computer. So they give you everything you need. I have the old version of the M8. Dusty. Really love the M8. Super powerful. Not the easiest thing to use. Trackers were new to me, so I was looking for a long time at the Poly tracker, and went with this one mainly because when you get in the flow with this one, it feels like you're playing a video game. Your fingers start moving without you thinking, and there's a good relationship that happens. I'm not sure about the Poly tracker, and I know it's got more generative stuff, but as far as sound, I think the M8 sounds better. I think there's more powerful synths. It's more a sampler. So for me, you know, the M8 just seems more powerful for what I like, because I like it being a groove box, right? So you could do the drums on here, and you could do the synthesis, whereas the tracker, you need to, you know, put your own sample. It's more of a sampler, and I got nothing against samplers. I just have enough samplers that I showed you. For sound, you know, the Lo-Fi 12s in them give me that gritty sound that I like, the Lo-Fi 6 especially. So for me, it's like, a sampler's cool and all, but does it have character? You know, and the SP used to be one that gave it a lot of character, whether it be through the effects. I know the older MPCs had a lot of character in them. Some will argue about the sound. That's the biggest thing on the MPC forums. They'll argue to death about, you know, the converters and stuff like that, but I still think the MPC sounded good. It was a nice device. It double triggered for me sometimes on the pads, so I still think that's an issue. That even if you change the velocity sensitivity, you know, it definitely double triggers. I don't know what it is about that. And yeah, that was a big problem I had. I did have, if anyone's interested in monitors, I had some Kali Audio LP6s, LP8s. I can't vouch for a lot of stuff, but those are some really good studio monitors. Right now I'm just mixing through my headphones. I use you know, I use these old Sonys that some of you may know. They've been around forever. I use these, and I really like them. It's really flat sound you get out of them, so you can mix. But they're cheap and they do the job, and I still see them around all the time. People still using these. So for me, that's, you know, the headphones I'm using. Recording, not all the time I'll record on certain things, but I've been using this H1N Zoom. I got the whole little accessory pack thing, so it's got, you know, the stand and the power supply and all that. I was looking at the new H1 Essentials, but I heard, you know, I don't think they bring much to the table versus this one. This one has a problem with the pre-clipping sometimes, that you gotta set the gain to a certain, you gotta have the volume at like 60%, and then you gotta have the gain right, or it'll clip before the preamp, or it'll clip, you know, early in the staging. I don't know why that is. Someone told me that, I noticed it, and then they said there was a caveat about the, you know, about the device, and I noticed the same thing. So I do think that one has an issue. I don't know about the new ones. I seen some reviews, and it didn't seem like they brought much to the table, and I don't think the preamps are much better. So I'm not sure if what's up with that. I would go for a Tascam if I was gonna go for another little portable recorder. Cause my other Tascam, the DP EX08, I think I had, was the Porta Studio was great, and it had, you know, like an auto master on it. As far as mastering, a lot of stuff I'm using in the iOS. So sometimes I'm bringing out these machines, put it on the iOS. I'll use Grand Finale, or sometimes I'll tweak it myself. I use Trinity a lot to master. Or sometimes I just leave it how it is, depending on how it came out of the machine. So that's another feature, or that's kind of my headphones, my mic, my mastering. And I understand there's a lot of videos about this going out lately. You know, you might be good at beat making, and then you're okay at mastering, or you might be good at mastering and mixing and okay at beat making. And if you're making a good song, you should give it to someone else to master if that's their specialty. And I understand that, because you're not gonna master all three. I think Marlo Diggs did a video about this recently. You're not gonna master all three. I mean, maybe, but you'll either, you know, I'm practicing. I would rather, if I was gonna master one, be the beat maker. So, you know, that's kind of my passion. I like making the beats, or the mastering and that. I dabble in it, but I don't claim to know how to, like, you know, boost the low end and cut out the highs and all that. I know some basics, and I know how to, you know, if I hear, I basically, I subtract any sounds that sound harsh and that I don't need. I'll cut them out, and then I'll boost anything that sounds good. So, you know, what frequencies sound good, if the highs are sounding good, I'll boost them and bring them out, or I'll cut some off of them. It just depends. So the main thing is to learn, if you got a good sound and there's another sound in there, a frequency that's high, or that's distorted, or it doesn't sound good, try and cut it out, you know. Cut it out of the mix, or bring up the stuff that sounds good that's too low, boost it. So yeah, that's the main, that's kind of all I do with the master, EQing. That's kind of my theory on that. Let's see what else I got here. Oh, I got this little thing. This thing's kind of stupid, but I like it. It's a little, like a shaker, and then it has, you know, switches that have different filters when you're running the audio through it, and then it'll pick it up. So you can use it as a pickup and then filter something through these switches. Use it as a shaker. It's kind of a multi-purpose tool, but what I really like to do when I'm rapping, sometimes I'll take, it's a piezo mic, and I use this piezo mic, you know, like a lo-fi. I'll hold it real close to my mouth, and I'll use it like a lo-fi mic, and you know, I'll use the shaker sound sometimes. There's some washers in there that make it a shaker that go up and down. But I really like this thing. It's for the filters, I'll run audio through it and use the different filters. You can squeeze it in different spots and it filters, and I love the piezo mic on it. So yeah, kind of just a weird mic, a lo-fi mic. For me, this is my lo-fi mic. Oh, it's raining. Just making sure my window was shut. So yeah, that's some of the little things I got. I'm just pulling them out of this little studio desk, so seeing what's in here. Some other things I got, I'll bring over here. I wasn't prepared, guys. This was a little improv to, you know, testing the mic. I got a new camera. I'm just testing it out and, you know, seeing how it sounds. I ain't even gonna edit this at all. It's gonna come out raw. People ask me why I don't do more camera stuff. It's because I like to make music, and I hear some of these YouTuber creators spending, you know, 8 hours editing their videos. And if I was doing that every day and became some kind of influencer, you know, I feel like I would never make music. And I hear a lot of them complain about that. You know, that they're just not making music anymore because they're editing their videos, and they really didn't want to be, they're more of an artist than you know, a video, whatever, influencer. So I didn't want to fall in that trap. I kind of knew early, like, you want to spend all day video editing, and maybe that's the next evolution, because I put a lot of music out, and you know, some people are curious, like they want to see, you know, how you're doing your process, or they want to know, you know, maybe I could do instructional videos using these groove boxes and stuff like that. It's just not as fun to me. I usually just turn on some synths and some drum machines and start, you know, going wherever the wind takes me. So that's my process. I don't really overthink it. I used to overthink it. And if you are having trouble getting started, just start. You know, the first songs I do, if you go back on the channel, they're only like 15 seconds or 30 seconds. I was having trouble getting that. And just doing hundreds of songs, you start realizing now it's easy for me to do 3 to 5 minutes. I have to actually be conscious and hurry up, because I could easily do 10-minute video every day on a track, because I just get lost. And that doesn't mean it's a good 10 minutes. I'm just saying it's a lot easier for me to make a longer video now, but I started off making shorter videos or shorter songs, and it's easy for me now to make, you know, a mega mix if I wanted to. So I think just doing it, and maybe that's the same with recording videos. Maybe you start off one way, and then you're compelled to make the video better and the production better, and you know, I'm giving it to you guys straight up. Don't mind my Darth Vader. I'm just vaping away. Another thing is, I got this. What is this one? Oh, this is the Wingy 2. Wingy? I don't know. But it's like a resonator. Love this thing. I'm obsessed with this thing. You could tap on it and make some noises, kind of like the Piezo mic. It's very musical. I know there's a firmware hack you could put on here and turn this into like a groove box, like a Bushla box. Or not a Bushla box, kind of like a groove box that was made. Yeah, maybe it was like a Bushla box. But yeah, I've never put the hacked firmware on there. I'm just using, you know, kind of the stock version. But if you the thing I got this for, I'll show you. I mean, it's cool to make any sound off of this. You know, anything you throw into it, you can kind of make it musical with the resonator. I just noticed that there's no feet thing on the bottom. I never noticed that. I got this other device that I like to pair with it. I got the Somo Roet. And this thing is a harsh beast. It's, hard to tame this. But when you run this into this, it tames it. So this is, to me, they're a perfect pair. The ROAT's kind of harsh, and this kind of comes off soft, so I can get cool musical textures out of it, like fuzzy lo-fi type of sci-fi movie cinematic textures. I'll use these two a lot of times. It's a good combo. I'll run, and they both, works out really good for me. I like these fun little devices. And yeah, another little device I got is a Nanomo Queen MK2, and it's kind of hard to explain that device. That device has been the hardest device to use. I would say the hardest devices I ever used were the most groove boxes I figured out. But from using so many groove boxes, that's the one thing, from selling all that gear and using it, it did teach me a few things. On the bright side, it taught me, how to do patterns, the basic patterns on most groove boxes. And then once you use several groove boxes, you could kind of pick up any groove box and, figure it out, because you start learning, when you start using different sequencers and you figure it out, you start realizing a lot of it's similar. There's not, and you really got to figure out what you want. The circuit tracks I sold and bought it back the second time because I was watching a video and I understood how to use it all of a sudden. I didn't know how to use it. So that was a big deal to me. I was making sure this MIDI cable was, that's another thing. Keep your cables together. Don't mix your stuff up. Any device I have, I'll put the SD card in it and I will leave it in there. And the cords I try to keep labeled or keep them around, because you can mess your synthesizers up and it's hard to keep track of chords. That's another thing. Once you start getting, tons of machines, you're going to start getting tons of chords, and it's expensive. This is a basic kit I brought with some midis and some, 4th inch jacks. But these add up quick. I must have spent a couple $100 in chords. People don't tell you about that. When you get into synthesizers, you're going to be buying chords and cases and all types of stuff that's extra. But you need it. And, usually get the better chords, the thicker the better. They're more expensive, but sound matters. If sound matters to you, you're gonna want to get. I even have this blue fucking. This is just for MIDI SYX files, just to update the dang Sonicware boxes, like the Lo-Fi 12 and those. I have to use this dang MIDI core that I'll use for nothing else but just to update SYX files. Stuff like that they don't tell you about. Stuff I wish I would have known before I got into the synthesizer sphere. Yeah, but the Nanomo Queen is the most difficult device I've used besides the M8 tracker. And when I say the M8 tracker is difficult, that depends if you've used the tracker before and if you're used to that. But this has a lot of features built into it, and it reminds me of the Woov box. If you guys know the Woov box, that's a feature packed device, and so's this. The developer who makes this really puts a lot of updates into this device. I have a actual, where is it? So this is the Nanomo Queen MK2. It don't look like this. It's an all black plate. I put a custom plate on here from an artist. And yeah, it's, PCM boards. But man, the power of this machine, and the updates that he has brought in this thing is insane. I mean, this thing goes crazy, and it has a great lo-fi texture. I love it. I use it. I'm still gonna use it. It's a full groove box, and it's small. It's, you know, it's pretty dang small. It's pretty light. It's pretty small still, even though I love it. It's hard to figure out. This is one of those because you're doing a lot of menu diving on a small screen, and it's just one man doing it and his own coding, and it's just different. He is very helpful and active on Discord. If you get one of these devices, he will help you out, and he kind of has some trouble coming through on the tutorials, but he's been putting more tutorials up as of late, and you can get the firmware and stuff from GitHub. I just love this thing though. It's small, it's super powerful. I say it's like feature packed like the Woof box. And you kind of start liking the workflow with this huge encoder knob. But the sound out of this, especially, fantastic. So I use that sometimes too. And that's pretty much it right now. I just got the Roland MKII in today, so speaking of hard devices, we'll see how hard the workflow is on the MKII, and we'll see what that's about. I don't know how long this video is going. It's going to be long. If you're still here, cool. You can get a bonus. I'm going to unbox the MKII SP-404 and check that out. I was hesitant about getting it. I was talking smack. I was like, I don't like the workflow. But something the other day just told me, you know, let's give it a shot. Because one thing I've learned, like I said, you don't really know gear until you have it in your hands. And a couple of my friends use it to great effect. And I miss the SP. I miss the effects. So, you know, like I said, I got the circuit tracks again. I love that device. It's one of the best beginner groove boxes I think you could get, hands down. I really like the vocal sample. Any of the live-ins are dope. Oh, I have another one. What do I have here? I'm forgetting what gear I have. I got the Electribe, the Korg Electribe, the blue one. And I love this groove box. It's old school. I wish they would make a new one. Korg announced all those things at NAMM, and I just wish they would have made a new one of these. You know, I don't know if I should. All right, I'll pull it out. So yeah, I got the Electron, which, you know, is built like a tank. If you've ever lifted one of these things, it is heavy, bro. It is heavy. I really like it. Yeah, see, I got my SD card in there. I don't use one SD card for everything. I just leave them in the machines. I put a dedicated SD for each machine I get. Yeah, it's built like a tank. This pad was first weird when I got it. I wasn't really sure about how I felt about this pad, but it's grown on me, and you could do some really sick effects with it. It's got a weird feeling. It's the only pad I've ever felt where you can almost feel the internals underneath it. And not in a good way either. But it works. These pads are great. I like the feel of these pads. The encoders all feel good. Heavy can be solid metal, and you know, only the bottom's plastic. Some people said that you could put batteries in it. Some people said that, you know, I don't know. It has the lights on the bottom that look really cool at night, and I just love this thing. It has a certain sound, and you could do some ambient. You'd think this is just like a dance electronic machine. And some people hate that it only has a couple bars, 4 bars or 8 bars. But I get around it. And that's another thing that I learned with I didn't like the song mode with the MPC, but what I learned having Gear later is I'll use pad mutes, and I'll mute things in and out. And that became a blessing for me because you can do that pretty much on every device. Every device usually has some kind of mute, whether it's the Roland, TR6S or the MPC or the Sonicware Live boxes. Every groove box has mutes, usually basic thing to mute a channel. So I use pad mutes a lot. And then, I'll try and get tricky and morph in between, or maybe a different sequence. It's nice if they have the kind of clip mode, or the thing with the tracks is like if you can edit another pattern. Patterns are great, to make a sequence. So pattern editors are ways to do patterns. And I think that's how you got to build it on the MK2. But those are the things I look for now too. Necessarily a song mode is just you recording them pattern changes, right? So I don't know what I wanted in a song mode, but when I said I didn't like the one on the black box, thinking back, I mean, it lets you record in your sequences how you wanted them, or you could have muted it and done, built a song. So it wasn't horrible. I just was looking for something a little different. I don't know what I was looking for. And I wasn't looking for like a DAW. I knew a DAW is different. And you're not going to like get a DAW experience in a box. Maybe on the Kai Force or something like that. I always thought they would end, My problem with a Kai is they seem greedy. They keep re-skinning new machines, coming out with stuff that's the same machine, whether you have the X, the 1, the Live 2, they're all the same, And I was looking for a new machine. Like, they keep re-skinning, rebranding, and then they bring out the keys and then the mini keys. I wish they would make a mini device like a stripped down software version, like a different, easier. Well, I mean, it'd be an easier OS because it'd be stripped down. And I don't know if I don't really care about the speaker, maybe the battery power. I was against devices with battery because, if the battery dies on it, then you feel like you got a paperweight. Obviously, a couple devices I have battery, which is the tracks and the tracker. The tracker has a built-in battery, but it is replaceable. They did make a new tracker that has like double the battery. I got 4 hours, which is plenty for me on the tracker, but the new one gets like 8 to 10 hours. They got a new design look on it. It looks more, the new M8 looks like the Polyon Tracker Mini, It's a lot closer to that in aesthetics now and in battery life. I like the kind of steampunk look of the first one, or I'm just telling myself that so I don't buy the new tracker, but yeah, mine works fine. Ain't no reason to get the new one yet. But I do like the tracker. I don't use it as much as I should, and I should practice on it more. It's a very powerful groove box. It's the best lay in the bed on on your stomach and by a pillow, half falling asleep making music. You could do that with the tracks kind of because of the portability, but you still gotta lay out some space for the tracks. I feel like you can use the M8 like a Game Boy, like you would imagine how you would just play a Game Boy. You can definitely do that. So yeah, I got you could definitely do some ambient with this and some stuff that you wouldn't think, playing with all these different oscillators. And the filter's cool. You could sound design pretty good on this, and it's pretty knob per function. I do like the chord mode, also the keyboard mode. I just like it. I bought this. It's an older device. I bought it recent. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna rock with it until they come out with a new Electribe. I'm not a huge fan of Korg's new stuff. I really think that this is the favorite thing they make for me. If Korg makes a new Electribe 3, I know it'll fly off the shelves. People love this device. It gets a lot of hate, but there's a tight knit group of people who still make some quality music on here. If you ever heard R. Benny do some ambient on this thing, you realize it ain't the machine, it's you, because this is very capable. So I forgot about the Electribe, and I forgot about the Roland SH-4D, which I got, which could be my favorite groove box. Like it, everyone hates the workflow and the saving on it, and I don't think it's that bad. I think the saving's annoying. It asks a lot of questions, but it's nice if you want to save a patch in your song and you can want to recall that certain patch and not recall the whole song. So people just want to recall their whole song, but if you really like some chords you did, or you really like a section of a song you did, I think it saves in a way where you can use that same section in multiple tracks. And I don't think people understand that. There's a problem with what? The metronome. There's no counting. There's no metronome, and there's no like step automation for the drums, I want to say. But you can sound design really good on the SH-4D as far as the drums, because you could it's basically a drum synth, and then I think this sounds fantastic with the synth. The synths sound fantastic to me, and I love it. I think that it sounds great. Now it's digital, and some gonna argue digital versus analog. I don't care. I think the SH-4D sounds fantastic. Even in if you go to Bad Gear episode of it, I think that was some of his best songs he ever did, was the ones he did on the Roland SH-4D, and he bashed the SH-4D, but we all know that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Bad Gear isn't necessarily, people I think see their gear on Bad Gear and they get really offended. And when I first seen his channel, I didn't really understand. Now I kind of get it, and it's funny. He's fantastic channel. Florian's great, and I don't think people get the show unless you've been watching. So, yeah, Bad Gear isn't necessarily Bad Gear, and he makes banger songs with all the gear on Bad Gear, so can't be that bad. Yeah, he really didn't like the SH-4D, but I'm enjoying it a lot. I think it's a great groove box, and for its shortcomings with no non-quantization, that's another big one that some people complain about, but I haven't noticed it. Quantize, unquantized, you think you need that until you're actually making some music. I never once thought, man, I really wish I could do unquantized as I was using the Roland SH-4D. So, to each their own. It's good to have, and I understand why you'd want it more on a hip-hop lo-fi type of device, because I feel like that's where I use the unquantization the most. It's for some drunken beats like that, but some J Dilla vibe, but even though he micro-timed different, that's a whole different discussion. But yeah, I really like the SH-4D. It's a beast. Yeah. So yeah. Didn't mean to knock the camera over there. I don't think I'm gonna dig this one out of the box, but I really like it. Maybe I will. mainly I got the stuff in the box just so it doesn't get dust. You know, I pull out what I need. But yeah, the SH4D, you know, does its thing. Probably one of my more expensive groove boxes. Let's see if we get the camera right. But I love it. You know, some don't like these keys. They're very you know, it's not a keyboard. You got these buttons, but I like them. They feel good to me, and they're just kind of weird. I really like them because when you're doing your drum parts, when you usually mute drums, you're just muting the track. I can mute, you know, the 26 different individual drums, samples, or, you know, drums. So you can really kind of like get creative with what you're muting and unmuting in the percussion part. I do think it's got a fast workflow when you figure it out. The arpeggio on here is really good. The D motion's fun. The visual arpeggio's fun. You could tilt the thing and play games with it, ping pong, and bounce the little ball will bounce around the screen to give you nice melodic sounds. You know, if you want to do slow ambient or add more balls and they bounce all around the screen. So that's really cool. The effects are really good. There's tons of effects. I love that it's got tons of polyphony. You know, I love it's pretty much not per function up here. You know, you got all the stuff you need. The filter, the amp, the LFO is all there. And you could really, you know, let me see if I can show you some of that. Oops. So yeah, the filter section, you know, you got your amp section, you got your LFO, it's really clearly labeled out. You got your faders. You can use these like you would. You can mute tracks with these too, but also sound design with them. You got your basic menus, then you got your octave, your pitch, your D motion, your arpeggio. Down there is all for the sequencing. Then you got your sequencer running across. But your effects section, it's got a lot to it. I mean, there's like 60 effects. You know, there's a lot of lo-fi and delays and all types of good stuff in that effects section. And I just like the layout. You know, you got your different shapes of your sine wave. And, you know, you go right down, filter, amp, LFO. And I just like it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I definitely, they haven't updated it. So I'll be kind of becoming a Roland fan. I'm a Roland fan of this, you know, and the TR8 or the 6S I thought about, the MC-101 I thought about. And that has a workflow too that some will say is complicated. So I didn't rock with the MC-101. I almost got the MC-101 the other day. And I ended up just getting the MK2. It's about the same price. And I was thinking, you know, do I want the, you know, do I want a TR6S for a little cheaper? Oh, but the MC-101, it can do a little bit more. But it's kind of a preset machine. And then it was the Roland, and it was like the MC-101 was going to be a hard workflow, or the Roland was going to be a hard workflow. Which one do you think you like better? I know they get a lot of love on the Roland SP-404 updates. This hasn't had an update yet. Not necessarily that it needs one. It's pretty stable. There's a few features I would love. So we'll see if they update it. Maybe they're just working on, maybe, you know, sales are probably higher for the Roland, you know, 404, the SP, than they are the SH4D, so maybe that's why it's getting the updates. This is kind of newish, so I don't know when they're going to roll it out, or maybe they're just going to do a huge update to revamp this. Not sure, but if they left it, you know, don't buy things for feature updates. If they left it how it was today, I'm still happy with this machine. So, I really like it. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on some points being, you don't know until you have things in your hands. Sometimes you might hate a machine and rebuy it. Like I did with the track, or the tracks. So it's hard to tell, you know. You can research as much as you want online and know the machine pretty good, but until you have it in your hands, it's hard to tell sometimes, because this is a good example of it. The Roland SH4D gets a lot of hate, and at first I was like, oh man, no song mode, no quantizate, you can only do quantized. I was like, I don't think I like this thing. But man, I do not regret buying the SH4D one bit. I love it. It's one of my favorite fast groove boxes to make a jam on. And everything I make on it, I really like the sound, so it's fast. It sounds good. It's fun. So that's something you wouldn't know from, you know, just reviews of it. So that's kind of why, you know, I heard so many conflicting things with the 404, which I bought. Let me see. Let's unbox that. Think big old perfect circuit package. Brand new, unopened. I use Perfect Circuit. I used to use Sweetwater, but I don't know what it is with Perfect Circuit. But they don't have no damn tax on their stuff. You know, you get something from Perfect Circuit and there's no damn tax, no sales tax. I don't know if it's a Kelly thing or what it is, but let's check this thing out. I'll open it up. I did buy I don't know if this is the right one for it. I did get an SD card with it. Someone suggested, no, there's probably faster ones now, because it's only, I got the SanDisk Extreme Pro 32 gig. It's running 100 megabytes per second. You know, I just got this. I think that's plenty. There's 16 on there, so with the 16 plus the 32, I think I'll be alright. You can upgrade now. I know the new firmware, I think you can upgrade up to 128 or maybe 1 terabyte, but it has to be like 3.0 and up. So if you have an older version of the OS, you can only go to 32 was the max, I believe, but with current updates, you can, just stream larger files. I don't think I'm gonna use that much, but hey. But yeah, I got that. I'm trying not to put my address on the screen. Alright, so we got the SP-404. I keep a lot of these things in the boxes, so I'm going to try and take this sticker off without destroying it too much. It's just a good place to put something if you want to not get it dusty. I keep a lot. I had my whole studio was in these boxes before I shot this video, and all of it was in a laundry basket. So my whole studio could fit in a laundry basket, which is crazy. You can pick it up and carry it with you. I got a portable home studio. Alright, so I did some damage taking the sticker off. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. So it comes with your basic, you know, instruction manual. I think this is a thing for the Roland. You know, it might give you some of that Roland cloud. I don't know. A certain smell opening it. Like new styrofoam. Alright, so they give you the power brake. And on the styrofoam for the thing it says MKII. I thought that was a nice touch. Alright, let's see. Get this out of the way. Power cord. Alright. And let me see this. I want to pick it up real quick. So, you know, you got your standard jacks. Line in and out, 1/4. You got your MIDI. You got the USB-C, the DC. And then it looks like you got, you know, your headphones got a 1/4 and a regular jack. And then you got the gain. And then you also got the jack for the input. So guitar. So you can switch it over to mic or guitar. Guitar, and then switch it over. You got mic. That's your gain. Alright. So the bottom has like a weird angle on it. I don't know if anyone's ever showed this. This angle right here is kind of severe. This sticks out. Like, you know, it hides this. The top feels good. Nice and metal. The bottom feels plastic. Let's see. Pads are stiff coming out the gate, but I can feel them. They don't have a lot of play. They feel like, they don't feel like the Circuit Tracks pads. They feel stiff. I know they're velocity sensitive, so maybe that's... So these feel different. The bus, the hold, the exit source, and the sub pad. Well, sub pad doesn't. So sub pad must be velocity sensitive. And these three feel different. They're kind of a little clicky. These, you can hear the difference. That sub pad. So those three, bus, effects, hold, and exit source. Now this encoder, I guess, yep, it's a push encoder. It's an endless push encoder. These feel kind of like these two, these three. Slight resistance on these. Oh, they got a nice rubber coating to the side of the button. So these feel like they're not gonna get like bumped, but they don't have tons of resistance, but I'd say just the right amount. So these do feel good. You know. Oh, should we power this thing up? Let's see what version it comes with out the gate. And if the video cuts off on you, it's because I took too long. My first video, I was talking too much. There was There's some candy in there. They trying to be Sweetwater. You see that? They're giving you candy now. We'll give them a plug. The perfect circuit. I got so many of these stickers everywhere. That's okay though. You know, it's okay though. Let me see. I got this weird lamp. Powered off the lamp. That's probably not the best idea. But let's see. Let's see what she do. So I'm gonna let y'all see the animation for the first time because I'm booting it up too. Sorry for the thing on this stand be falling. Maybe I should kill that. Hold on, let me see. Let's boot her up. Okay. So you guys probably can't see it, but looking at the screen, you can definitely see the pixels. It's like, you know, it definitely has that kind of, I like it. It's a bigger screen than the old one, and it's pretty clear. I don't know if that's gonna come off, but yeah. So that'll be the new device that we'll be checking out. Probably make something with this here. Gotta fix this. I don't know. Yeah, you know the ball that you got on your camera to fix it into place. Mine's shit. I gotta use the other stand. Okay, I can see it's obviously I got nothing plugged in yet. But yeah, I think if you hit shift and let's try utility. Okay, there we go. We got system. Show y'all real quick. So we got system. Don't mind me in the background looking at a hot mess. We'll go to system. Let's see, can I see? Load project, submode, retrig. Reverse type, DJ mode type, vinyl. Okay, I don't know what I did there, so I'm gonna one sec. I'm gonna see if I can see what version it's on. But I think I messed up. So this is backup. We got backup. Factory reset, import samples. I'm thinking it would be in here somewhere. I wonder how you would, I wonder how you scroll over. It says 1 through 5. I'm looking for a way to move over. So if you just play. So I see patterns got undo right there. So undo under the pattern select. I'm not sure. There we go. So it's the encoder up at the top. That makes sense. So general. Okay. And MIDI. Okay, you got gain. Alright, so let's go back. You got so I'm running so it is 3.2. If you can see, this is the newest version, I believe. So it comes, if you buy one of these, it already comes updated. That was my big question. I think 3.02 is the newest version. And use this top right encoder to hop the menus like that. And then you got this, your main encoder, to go up and down, if anyone's confused. But yeah, I'm gonna go here. You could do a factory reset. I'm gonna cancel that. I don't know what all would do. All data? Not sure. I'm gonna leave that for now. I don't think I messed anything up in settings. But yeah, you got all this. So I will check this stuff out. I will report back after I mess with it. I'm sure it's going to take me a while. I think the first thing I'm going to work on is getting the samples loaded up. Sampling in here a bit. Messing with the sequencer some. Check it out, see what's good with it, and then tell y'all what I think. Screensaver, old rave. So I know you could change some screensavers and stuff in